Hey, and welcome to another episode of the JustNabz podcast with me, Nabila, and
Nabil, hello.
hi, how are you?
I'm very fine, thank you. How about you?
I'm good. Very, very hot.
Very
It's
cold.
now officially summer, and I'm dying. I hate summer. Absolutely hate summer.
Right. Why is that?
It's
You're
so
creepy.
no. Do you know my hometown is so humid? We are on the East Coast, so it's all that humidity and the mosquitoes, and it's just sticky and awful.
Yeah. The only reason why I like winter a bit better than summer is just because winter outfits are much better. So
Yes.
that is the only reason.
Yes, I completely agree.
Otherwise, I could not think of any reason to like winter more than summer. How was your week?
It's been good. Productive. But I've been, remember I told you I started this book, The Librarian of Auschwitz. So,
how's it going?
I have read 2 whole pages.
Two?
I've been struggling. I mean, I started thinking about high school, and before that, the way I just finish books. I could finish that entire Harry Potter book in a day. I could read 6 books a week. But now I am struggling to get through this book, which I borrowed from my friend. I will return it. Let me just tell you, I hate when people borrow books and don't return it. So I know she's listening. I will return your book when I eventually finish it.
So you, in 1 week, you managed to read 2 pages.
Yeah, you should be proud of me. That's an achievement.
Should I? Okay. How's that?
I know you finish a book a day, so
It's not quite. No, it's not quite finishing it in a day. But I mean, 2 pages a week. That's quite the record. I'm proud of you, of course.
yeah. So during lockdown, I tried a whole lot of new things. I tried, not really new, but things that I haven't done in a while. I tried painting again, sketching, but I just lost interest. But what about you? Have you taken up any hobbies or extracurricular during lockdown?
I did indeed. So I've spent literally the majority of time during lockdown on Twitch. It's been I didn't use to spend a lot of time on it. I didn't believe in that whole streaming world. I mean, that was not attractive to me. But now Twitch is, I think, one of the best instruments content-wise in the whole world. So I've discovered Twitch. I call that productive.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I mean, everything digital has just exploded massively during this lockdown since March. The rise of esports, online gaming, working from home, even things we only thought would take off in 5-10 years has now suddenly it's just accelerated and it's just kicked off. I know Formula One jumped in on board on the whole esports thing because they couldn't race. They got their drivers on Twitch. I enjoyed that. I did, I signed up for Twitch just for that. Yeah, so that was kind of exciting.
To be fair, Formula One has been doing esports since 2017, I reckon.
Yes.
So but it is without doubt the whole pandemic, lockdowns, and everything have pushed the whole content even further. we've had even outside the whole F1 official F1 esports championship, we've had so many other virtual races with F1 drivers, which, except for Lando Norris, maybe that would have been unthinkable.
Oh my God! I actually saw people yesterday. I saw people discovering that he was an actual F1 driver.
Right.
On his stream.
I went through that thread, but I mean, so many people were saying that they were just joking. So,
okay.
Lando's fan base, yeah, they should know that he's a Formula One.
Oh yeah,
driver.
I mean, they know everything about him. Gosh, it's a bit creepy, actually.
It is. I would feel creepy.
But you mentioned that esports has been around since 2017. So I started following it, when it first started. I was like, okay, cool, this is interesting. And then that's where I first saw our next guest.
Wow, big guest.
big guest. And I've been following, kind of following his career since then. Absolutely love this guy. One of my favorites. He is not. He will introduce himself. I won't do justice. Okay, so he's actually racing in for a Formula One team, and the whole route that we wanted to take with this podcast was to amplify the stories of people who don't usually get their voices heard, or who want to share their stories in a safe and comfortable environment, so I just reached out to our next guest.
Yeah, hello, I'm Simon Weigang. I'm F1 esports driver for Haas, and I'm 23 years old now, from Germany, and that's my introduction.
Short and sweet. They have to do everything under a certain time in the sport. You have to do everything within
that's true.
Quick fast.
Okay.
Nice to have you with us, Simon.
Thank you for inviting me.
Your team has been stirring up a lot of controversy this week, which we'll save for another day.
Actually, I'm myself having a lot of controversy at the minute, so...
Okay, spill the tea.
I mean, I tweeted that what he did was bad, but I also kind of thought that people might... I felt like they treated him like Hitler or something. I don't know.
That is true.
I felt like it was maybe a bit overblown, and now I'm actually getting killed.
Oh. Oops.
Yeah, I mean, it's because, especially lately, I think that everyone has apparently a clear opinion. So everything is basically black or white. There's no gray.
Exactly.
There is nothing in the middle. And as far as I'm concerned, I of course condemn everything that he has done. As far as this whole situation is concerned, but as you said, some are really picturing him like Hitler. So, yeah.
I mean, he did punch a guy once. It's not his first crime per se. But yeah, he's punched someone before. He has pushed someone off track. He is now involved with this scandal. Yeah, but I see that the girl posted that they are friends, and it sounds a lot like she got paid to shut up.
Yeah,
maybe
I don't even dispute that. I just my opinion was, I saw the video and I saw how people reacted to it. And my honest opinion was, I felt like it was overblown reaction. Like, that was just me. I'm not saying like, I don't know.
So yeah, it is. It really is. So I definitely don't agree with this whole situation, what he's done. And from a
No.
female perspective, I get why a lot of women are very upset, because we don't realize how many women actually go through these situations where they are groped without their consent, where they're touched without their consent, and seeing something like this is quite triggering. So I can see why they've blown it out of proportion. But at the same time, I also don't agree with people reaching out to sponsors and threatening them to pull their sponsorship from Haas, because at the end of the day, you are risking the jobs of mechanics, engineers. It's hundreds of people's jobs who are at stake, not just one driver. But
Yeah.
he should definitely be held accountable for his actions.
Surely, and I agree that was definitely the wrong thing to do. But yeah, I'm not even defending this guy. I mean, as I tweeted something, people acted like I defended him. I wasn't even defending him. I said it's wrong, but I also felt like considering her statement as well, like it was just a friendly thing, and essentially what the mistake was that what was posted. If she texted, or if she let the world know, hey, look, that was pretty bad, and I felt really uncomfortable. But please give this guy some slack. Then obviously, I mean, that would be quite horrible. But yeah, I think I'm just. I knew exactly what I did, and
Yeah.
I knew like if I post that, it's gonna be tough for me.
I've
Even though I explicitly say I'm not supporting this in any way, but it's kind of rough, and I think I shouldn't say too much about it because I got a message from Haas about it as well. So
Oops.
um,
I feel like I feel like Simon just drops these very controversial tweets once in a while, and then he's like, "Okay, bye then, I'm off."
Yeah,
And then he deals with the consequences later.
it's not the first time, Simon, that you've got a tweet trending because of your opinion. I do remember the tweet, which I would like to discuss with you because it is a valuable idea. So, a couple of weeks ago, maybe not just over a week ago, you tweeted, I'm reading your tweet, top 3 drivers in F1 esports should be offered a paid season in F4 or F3. I think many have proved that it's absolutely doable and it will be a great way to fight the money issue in motorsports. So after this tweet, you've got many replies, many retweets, and everything. But Twitter is just 280 characters. Would you like to add anything up to that?
yeah, of course. I mean, I think it's a well-known issue about motorsport that you have to have funding and a certain budget to even start. I mean, in my personal story as well, I actually had when I was really young, I think 6 or 7, we went to like a rental karting place, and I was really quick. And I was with my grandfather, and they said, "Hey, bring your parents next time when you come." Kids karting was only Sunday, so we waited a week. We came back, and they said, "Hey, we want to put you in a cart, and we would like to pay a portion of the price." And my dad was like, "Yeah, what's the rest? Like, how much is it per year?" And they were like, "I think the rest is still 15 to 20,000 a year." And
Wow.
and maybe we could have afforded it, but it's like so much money for like such a risky thing. And so we just decided, hey, you can just play football, and that's it. So my story pretty much ended before it even started, and I know that's the same thing for a lot of people. And I think it's just pretty much a crime that only 1% of kids even get the opportunity. So I feel like esports is a great way to fight it, because essentially you're still driving, and obviously you don't have G forces, you don't have the sense of speed of real cars, but you still operate a car. I mean, you can debate about how accurate it is or not. I mean, some simulators are very accurate, and yeah, I think in the future that's definitely going to happen. And I just want to do my part to further encourage it. It might be too late for me to be an F1 driver, but maybe in the future
It's never too late.
True.
I mean, you're still
Absolutely, and
young.
I
You're
do
still
agree.
young.
I do agree because everyone talks about the sort of the likes of Lewis Hamilton or Esteban Ocon who had nothing, or even Checo Perez who had nothing, and they came out to be Formula One drivers. But on the other side, there are also many families who go and invest, as you said, even 30,000 or 40,000 euros or dollars per year, and they do not make it. So they just end up in let's just say in bad situations financially, and they just don't make it. So the problem is there. I think that the majority of criticism, it comes from the fact that as things stand, F1 esports is mainly it depends too much on the Formula One game itself, the one developed by Codemasters. Do you reckon that game is a proper benchmark as a simulator? Does it give the proper experience?
I know Codemasters don't like that, but no, it's not. I mean, it's it's not easy in no way, and it's not like a Need for Speed or anything. But there are some differences, obviously, and there are some. Let's say there are some models of Formula One cars who are more accurate than the game, which is which the F1 Esports tournament is held on. So yeah, but it's still very difficult. It's still a car. It's maybe not exactly the same, but it's still very similar. Yeah, but maybe in the future they make it even more sophisticated, even more realistic. And I would obviously love it, but yeah, we already spent a lot of time creating setups, pretty much all the time. So, and if they get even more complicated, then I, I probably won't leave the house anymore, which is already a problem. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely far from easy to drive these cars anyway.
So you told us about your your karting, the whole karting situation, and it was too expensive to continue and whatnot. So what happened after that? Like how did you end up in esports and racing professionally?
Um, you know, uh,
What age did
it,
you start?
yeah, I first of all played football my whole life, and I was even close to getting professional, I think. So, and then I stopped that at like age 16 or 17. I did nothing for a while, and then age 19, I think it was. I started with 19 3 years ago. So not very long ago compared to
Okay,
others.
that's not bad. And you're not. I mean, you are pretty competitive. Um, I see I follow your YouTube channel, so I've seen your Twitch streams. You fast.
YouTube, really?
I mean, you started you posted your first video a few days ago, but I mean, but I mean on
I'm
your
just trying.
on your Twitch and whatnot. Um, so yeah, that's my questions. Any questions from you regarding
Yeah.
esports? No, wait. We didn't go. So before Haas, you raced for Renault, right?
Renault, yeah, last year.
And
Um,
you got in at 2017, raced for Renault, and then Haas.
no, it was 2018. 2019 even. I mean, no, 2017. Even started in general. I didn't even have a wheel or anything, so I just played on my controller. F1 2017. And then 2018, the first Pro Draft came along. I didn't even have a wheel back then, so I qualified on the controller,
Oh
which
wow.
isn't ideal. And then obviously didn't get picked, even though I was hoping I would. I was so naive. I was like, maybe they see or anything, but it didn't. It was
Uh,
pretty straightforward. And then I bought a wheel right afterwards, and then a year later I got picked. That was actually a pretty painful experience because on the way home there were like a bus, like not a bus, but like a little shuttle.
Mm.
These little shuttle things, and 4 other drivers were in there, 4 other Germans, and they were all picked. So
Oh,
they're all sitting
ouch.
in the shuttle with their team kids and saying about how they look forward to the Pro Series, and that was in London, and I was like, yeah, shit, that kind of hurts. But
Oh, I know that
okay,
feeling.
yeah, that was
So,
bad.
what is the process of becoming a Formula One esports driver for those who do not follow F1 esports?
You know, over the last few years, it was qualify yourself with via an online event where you race against AI or the computer pretty much, and you have to have a certain pace. You have to be quick, and then obviously if you're on top like 10 or whatever, then you get invited to the draft. No, you get invited to another race where you race against the top 10, and then the top 8 or something get invited to the draft. That was the last few years, but I think they changed it for this year. But I'm obviously not aware because it's not none of my business anymore, luckily. So
And on the whole esports side, there's been, especially on this year during the pandemic and everything, as we said, there have been many sponsors getting increasingly interested in F1 esports. Do you reckon there's a risk for F1 esports to end up being too much reliable on sponsors, just like the Formula One?
too much reliable on sponsors. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. What do you mean exactly?
I mean, at the end of the day, like we're seeing it on Formula One, sometimes the best driver doesn't get a seat because another driver brings more sponsors. So, do you think there's going to be the same problem in the future? So, do you think that the whole management of F1 esports should tackle this before it's too late? Do you think that it's an issue that's going to present itself?
That's actually a good question, but I never thought about that. I don't think so. At least not in the very near future. I can't. It's rough because I don't think any sort of Mazepins or any sort of Strolls would be interested in investing like huge sums of money to be an esports driver yet. So yeah, I don't see that happening. Don't see that happening for now. Not unless maybe the prize pool is like 20 or 30 million, which it isn't. Before that happens, I don't see that happening.
Right. Well, yeah, good point. And because also we can see that one of the issues in Formula One is that, except for Lewis Hamilton, we can fairly say that there's no representation of minorities in the F1 grid. So F1 esports has this potential of being more open to minorities because it's cheaper, so it's more accessible to a wider range of people. Do you reckon that F1 esports can play this game of getting minorities at the center of the stage?
Well, obviously, I'm very much for any sort of human to be given a completely, and I mean completely fair chance. Like the world should be a level playing field for every human. So obviously, in a lot of fields in the world, it isn't, which is sad enough. But yeah, for sure, even women, so girls could also do it without an issue. Would be very cool. So yeah, definitely. I think there are a few like depends on what you call minorities. I'm from Africa or like African ancestry. So there are a few people who are already minorities on the grid.
Yeah, I think you're the only person of color, if I'm not mistaken, who races in esports for a team, right?
Probably. I mean, I have someone who's Indian. I mean, if that's also, I don't know where you draw the line there, but it's definitely not a white quite
Wait,
few.
who's Indian there?
Shana Kakle.
Okay.
I think he is, but I mean, maybe he's kidding. I mean, he is. He looks like it, but I mean, you never know. You don't want to put
That's
maybe
my
he's like,
my countrymen, my ancestors' countrymen.
oh, okay. Oh, I was from India. I didn't know that. Okay.
No. I'm South African, 4th generation.
Ah, okay. So ancestors. Okay.
Yeah.
So between a Formula, talking about esports, of course, you would much rather have a single competition between men and women, something that we're not seeing in Formula One, for instance. Formula One announced last year the W Series to give a chance to some female drivers to drive a single seater. But in esports, as you pointed out, there's this potential as well to have men and women on the same grid, isn't there?
Yeah, but it's also a potential in real life.
How physically strong do you have to be to to sim race? Because people are under the impression oh, these guys just sit on a chair and drive a fake car, but obviously you have to have some sort of strength to do it, which people think that women aren't capable of. So how physically taxing is it to drive one of these sims?
Um, well, my sim not really. I mean, it's not exactly nothing. It's not like playing on a controller, like playing Call of Duty. Actually, if you play if you do a race and race for 2 hours, you definitely have to have a shower. But but it's not like women can't do it. I mean, the force feedback you can, you can set it up so it's very hard.
Okay.
But you don't have to. You can also have it lighter, so that's definitely not an issue for any woman or anything. So yeah, there have been a few girls I think who are quite quick, just not on esports level yet. But I hope maybe in the future that happens, and if they are among the 20 best, then it would be very cool to have them in.
And do you think that this thing could be getting back to the whole Formula 3 and Formula 4 chance? Do you think that could be one point of criticism that Formula 4, especially if you're like driving in Monza with rain, it's going to be very physically draining. So that could be one point of criticism, that at the end of the day, Formula One esports driver are not as physically trained and are not enduring what you could be enduring in Formula 4 or 3.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you would have to. I mean, one thing is for sure. I mean, everyone who is on the esports grid is obviously capable of reaching the top 1%.
Have you seen Simon's gym pictures? This boy.
Yeah, but I'm not I wouldn't be fit to drive an F1 car right now.
I mean, you just need to push a little bit more, but yeah.
And I mean, I'm not in terms of pressing weight. It's just about my neck and stuff. I probably my head would fall off if I drove.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there would be that level. You'd need to get training, but I mean, to get past that first level, and then if they see the potential, and then they're like, okay, this is someone who we can train, and obviously you get the neck training and all that other stuff.
Yeah, so I think that the points that was not clear out of the tweets, because of course, as I said, it was just 280 characters. You cannot write a full article on it. But it is quite a nice proposal, because if you see Formula One esports in the future with a proper simulator that simulates the G-force as well, and all these conditions that you find yourself into in a real single-seater, it could be plausible that you will get ready, even with your neck and your physical performance overall. You could be ready for Formula 4, for instance. So do you think that maybe a more realistic proposal would be give the chance to work with a Formula 1 team on the simulator side for the winner of the esports championship?
Yeah, I think so. You know, the thing is, a lot of people don't even want it. That's one thing. A few of my colleagues, they don't want to be a race car driver. They want to be an esports driver. So, which is respectable. And I agree with you. I mean,
what about you? Would you be keen to?
Yeah, I would be. I would be. I haven't had the chance yet, but I would be. But yeah, I agree with you. I think the training, the physical training, is always the least important, and it comes the fastest as well. Like you have to have. I don't know. I'm always careful with talent because I'm not quite sure what it is yet, but I think you have to have what some people call talent, and the rest, like physicality, is usually the easiest thing to come. And in football earlier, as well, when I played on a quite high level, and I had a coach who was really good, and by now he's, I think, coaching some sort of bigger team. He always said to me, look, if I, especially younger kids, if I see them, maybe they're a bit thicker or whatever, but they have like great ball control, like they have great sense of touch and stuff, then they're definitely more valuable than little kids who maybe don't have that natural touch but are like gifted in terms of physicality, because the physicality you can train on, the talent usually not. So yeah, I agree with you.
Thank you. And that applies for anything in life, actually.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah, but do you think that sometimes talent gets spotted a bit too late? I mean, it's easy now to say, for instance, talking about Formula One, that Max Verstappen has got talent. But do you think that it's harder to go to a 8 years old Max Verstappen and say that he's talented? So like when you were just a child, and do you reckon that people spotted maybe your talent? You're obviously talented. You're on the elite of the esports driver, which is, I mean, it's not easy to get into. It's not. I mean, let's not put it like it's just a quick job. It requires a bit of talent. So, do you think that people still fail to recognize talent in time?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, in motorsport, most people don't even get to show it. That's the thing. Yeah, so maybe. It's tough because I mean, what do you mean exactly? Like the esports part or the real motorsport part, talent recognition?
Let's talk about the esports part.
Oh, no, because I think it's quite straightforward in here, because the community knows each other really well, and everyone's league racing and stuff, and we all know where everyone stands roughly in terms of performance. So if there's a talent early, which is like, there's quite a few drivers who are like 14 years old who are really quick, and they obviously have a lot of potential. And but I think it's really fair. It's really fair. You can just buy a wheel. It doesn't even have to be expensive. When there's a kid who's like, hey, I want to do this, I maybe saw some of the big YouTubers, or maybe I saw F1 esports on the F1 streams, and they'll be like, hey, I want to try to do this as well. And maybe like 11 or 12 years old. They don't really need that much money. In general, maybe like 250 euros would be enough to get you a decent wheel to get started and to reach a really high level on as well. Which is obviously way less than any motorsport, any car season or anything. So they can just maybe save up from Christmas or whatever, and then give it a shot. And once they race in leagues, especially in the bigger ones, where you just have to sign up. You don't have to be anyone or anything. You just have to be quick and sign up, and that's it. So it's an incredible fair environment, incredible straightforward environment, which I really like. Yeah.
My only issue with esports, like I was thinking about this, like since it started, you only see it's mostly European kids or kids from in and around that area, if I'm not mistaken, right?
But mostly, you're correct. But there are also quite a few from like Australia and stuff.
Yeah. So with it's still a privileged country. I'm talking about kids from Africa, where they may have the talent, they have the setup, they have the money for all of that, but then it comes down to them needing to fly to Europe, and then that's not cheap at all.
Oh, I can say that some do that as well. That's not an issue actually. If they have to set up the home and stuff,
Yeah.
everything else is paid. So if you reach the
Oh,
program,
okay.
everything is paid for. Hotel, flight. There's nothing you have to pay for.
Okay, my little African kids.
You can go for it. Yeah.
We have a shot. We have a shot.
They can even, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you reckon there's anyone, since you said everyone knows everyone in the whole community, do you reckon there's someone that's really good but has been cut out of the grid for any reason?
That's difficult. There are a lot of people who are really good, but there's no one who's cut out for any particular reason. I mean, I do believe right now the 30 drivers it is, maybe bar 3 or 4 who may have to get in, but yeah, I do believe mostly the best drivers are on the grid right now.
Okay,
I think so too.
Just a question, just from a logistics point of view, how is the team composed? I mean, it's you, the driver, who's driving, of course, on the track. Do you have a race engineer, a strategist, or something resembling the Formula One teams?
Yeah, we have. Well, first of all, we have our team. We have not principal, but we have team principal of the esports team at least. Yes. Then we have our third driver who isn't racing at the race. He's doing the engineering stuff, so he's looking at the strategy. He's looking at the gaps and stuff via Discord. And but I don't have to make it look more complicated than it is. I don't usually. I'm a person. I don't really want much info at all doing a race, because I usually know it myself, unless there's something really special or unexpected happening. But that's usually not the case. So there's not really much going on for us. I mean, I know obviously in real F1, if you go on F1 TV and you go on a driver's perspective, how much they talk on the radio is absolutely insane. There's always something to talk about with them, and they give gaps, and that would be something I'd be annoyed about.
Leave me alone. I know what I'm doing.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
So apart from esports and Formula One and racing, so we skipped the gun, we jumped the gun a bit. But I want to know, who is Simon outside of sports, esports, outside of Formula One? What do you do? What do you enjoy? Do you like Christmas?
I love it. It's maybe the magic, disappeared.
Yay! We have a Christmas person.
Yeah, definitely. I always loved it. As a kid, I was always fully into it. But in the last few years, as I said, the magic disappeared a bit. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's me getting older. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's the Christmas tree not, being brought into the house. Whatever. It went away a bit, but I guess it's natural. Maybe it comes back once I have children or anything. But yeah, I do like Christmas.
Okay, and then and anything else, who is Simon? What do you do?
Yeah, who's Simon? These days not much anymore due to lockdown, right? So usually it's not too much. I study something I never really found the exact what's it called, translation of. So I study pretty much becoming a teacher. A school teacher from grades 5 to 10. That's what I do, and I also drive esports. So that's pretty much the two main things. Apart from that, I like playing football. I like playing basketball, and going to the gym. Other than that, my other interests. I mean, I have a whole lot of interests. I mean, a real big load of interests, which is sometimes distracting me in my day-to-day life. I'm not gonna lie, because if you want to increase your knowledge in a few fields a day, then you're sitting on your phone a lot. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Okay.
That's me.
Unexpected. I would never take you for a teacher type.
No. Why not?
I don't know. You just like don't seem like when you see like esports drivers and stuff, like you think, oh no, maybe these guys are like something in IT or engineering. But that's cute. That's very
Wait,
cute.
what does a teacher look like to you then?
I don't know.
What's the type of teacher?
I don't know what a teacher looks like, but I don't know.
So to all the teachers, what she's saying is that you don't have any clue of how to use a computer.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm like, yeah, no, man. That's not what I'm saying at all. Teachers, teachers are very underrated in our society. We don't actually give them the credit that they deserve. Because I mean, a teacher can make or break who you become in future. I know, like I had an English teacher who pushed me to my limit to just keep writing, and she just encouraged me, and was always backing me. And you need someone like that in your life. So I respect teachers.
Of course.
Yeah,
Of course.
very underrated career.
Exactly. Obviously, I'm a bit in the middle right now. Unfortunately, soon enough, there's going to be a point where I have to decide, I think, what I'm going to do, because obviously esports is getting bigger and bigger and more and more time consuming. And it's already a career, but obviously not a safe one at all, which being a teacher is. So I'll push it. I'll keep pushing away from me the decision all the time, but it has to be made. But sooner or later, I have to do it. And you're right. I think teachers are like really underrated. Whenever I talk about it, I always say, I mean, most people remember the teacher very well, like every teacher. Like when I ask people, hey, do you remember like math teacher from 10th grade? And they'd be like, yeah, he was cool, or he wasn't so cool. So teachers are very like influential in young kids' lives, and I think you can really make a change within societies. Maybe you can at least make a change for the better in the kids that you have assigned to. So I think it's a great job.
Do you have one teacher who's made an impact in your life?
Well, I've always had issues with teachers. That's the issue. That's the thing. I always
okay.
Like really quite big ones as well. Like a really good. I mean, there were a few teachers who like always encouraged me and stuff, which is always great. I mean, for example, I skipped the 2nd grade, and once I did that, I went to the 3rd. So I went from the 1st to the 3rd, and there was a teacher who immediately, once I did that, I didn't even really understand why that happened that time. We had a math exam, and it was like, our grades are from 1 to 6, and my grade was like, the first math exam once I skipped was, I think, 2.5. So it was better than average.
Yeah.
And she immediately came to me, not to my mother, which in that time would be more appropriate. She came to me and said, hey, maybe that's not, what you should do. Maybe you should reconsider, doing that. And I was a kid that didn't even really know what happened. And then she kept doing it all year long, and I could obviously go into detail, but it was quite a hard time, because I remember I didn't really want to do anything anymore after that. I was just, hey, I was just like, hey, look, I didn't do that, because I wanted to do it. Just happened, and as a kid, you just be like, hey, I mean, I just, I was stubborn. I became stubborn. I just didn't want to learn anymore. So I had a really rough time from then on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Absolutely.
That's
I
what I
want to do
say.
it better.
Yeah, like a teacher can make or break who you eventually become, or who you, or your just your schooling experience. But you find like, you said you're half African, and did you have like an easy time growing up? How was growing up for you in Germany?
You mean racism? Like,
Yeah, just or any just like prejudice.
nah.
Did you
I mean,
face
there's
anything?
always been prejudice. There's also have been times where I received some pretty brutal racism,
Mm,
but mostly from children.
mm.
Um, definitely the worst ones were from children. They called me things like, literally shit, like color of shit and stuff,
Yeah.
That's
which is
oh.
pretty. I mean, thinking about it now, it's pretty damn rough. But back then, it didn't really faze me too
Mm.
much for some reason. I was like, well, it could happen, I guess. um, it wasn't too bad, honestly, back then. I don't know why, but thinking about it now, I'm like, that's pretty disgusting.
Yeah. So we
But
we did touch on this in our first episode where we said, as kids we don't realize what's happening to us, or
no,
what's the next steps to take, or how to defend yourself when this happens, because it kind of takes you, like, it's a shock. When things get said to you and you're like, what did I do?
yeah, exactly. I mean, I was like, well, kids. That's the thing. Like kids, they like to, they form sort of groups, and once something or someone doesn't really fit in, and something is visually different,
Mm.
they don't hold back at all. Like they don't hold back at all. So you can't really hold it against them if they learn from it, and don't do that in adulthood anymore. That's obviously fine. But yeah, in adult, I've also received just a neighbor of mine. I was walking with a basketball, and it was maybe a bit too loud to him. I was just walking past his house,
Mm.
and he came out and said, "Hey, why did you go back and play the African tournaments or whatever he said?" I'm like, "Dude,
No.
what the fuck you mean?" It's just not even,
Yeah.
I've never been there or anything. So I was just saying, didn't even say anything. I just was, and things like that. Little things always happen,
Mm.
which obviously isn't great. It's actually quite bad, but it's could be worse, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I do agree. Be it on the teacher who have the power to form you or break you. When we say we want changes in society, in the whole mentality, the primary propellant for that change are teachers who actually get the chance and the honor, I'd say, to spend with you the very early stages of life. So I think that school in general is the first step that has to go through a revolution in order to change the mentality of a whole population, be that racism or be that anything else. To be fair, I've had the opposite experience with racism, meaning that I've been as a as from coming from African origins, living in Italy. I've been, victim of racist harassment, but I have had, I think, a worse time back then than now. It doesn't say. I mean, it's rough for a kid, and now I don't know. It shouldn't be like this, but I I've come to terms in some situations with the fact that some people are just racist, and they're going to be racist until the end of their days. And I think that's when a society dies, when you just come to terms with the fact that someone is never going to change.
Yeah, I agree. There's luckily, I have the feeling, at least in Germany, a lot of people are not, let's say, full blown racist in terms of they see your skin color and they literally dislike you because of the skin color. I think there's just a big issue. The majority issue is they have pre-justices, so they think they see all the crimes that happen. At least here from Germany, as there's a big uproar from refugees. There's a huge uproar. People, the country is literally split. Like the left, obviously, they want to get everyone in, and the more right people, they obviously don't. And but I do even feel like the people who are maybe more on the right, I do experience it myself from my grandparents as well. Maybe they're usually not, completely racist. They just have maybe a false sense of prejudices. So once they maybe talk to you and you've, are like a perfectly normal. I don't want to be like that, but if you like, some people think, hey, because it's in the news, they commit crimes, so everyone is like that, But they're not actually seeing the skin color as the issue. They just see the false, or maybe not false news. If you get me.
Yeah, the news normalizes this behavior. So we kind of saw it with Trump, where they get really bold about their racism. So for a long time they'll be on the DL, they'll keep their racism under wraps. But then as soon as a leader or a prominent person steps up and they openly racist, these people are like, hey, this behavior is okay. If they can do it, I can do it. So it does, make a difference when the people of power set an example for citizens.
Yeah. Whenever I have the conversation about this issue, it actually just blows my mind that it's even talked about still. These days.
Definitely.
It should be long gone, but
yeah, absolutely. So, getting back to esports, more light-hearted. Who do you think, now, tricky question, who do you think is, at the moment, the best driver on the grid, besides yourself, of course?
I wouldn't have said myself anyway. I'm not like that. I'm not like...
I'll go ahead and say it.
Realistic.
I'll say it.
Right. It's difficult. I mean, judging off the championship, it's Oppmer.
Yeah.
But Rasmussen as well. I think Rasmussen is a pretty damn robot. So if I have to say one, I'd say Oppmer.
Okay, yeah.
But I want to. Maybe I can change it next event.
Yeah, of course.
I have a good feeling.
Of course, I have my favorite driver is, I reckon, maybe one of the two Italian drivers, but I've been rooting since day one for David Tenizza.
Tenizza, yeah, he's also great.
Yeah, of course. He won the championship last year, if I'm not wrong. So he's been solid. But if I had to choose the best driver from a point of view of performance, I would easily go for Rasmussen.
Simon.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah, I said Simon at the beginning.
Maybe if we have a chat next year this time, maybe you can say Simon, but not right now.
Do you reckon you can have a shot at the championship next year?
Yes. I definitely do.
Right. Absolutely.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And that's the right mentality. I wouldn't ask it.
Look here. I've been backing this guy since 2018. Something needs to come.
Really?
Something needs to come off it. I'll send you. I'll send you my first tweet I ever. I subtweeted Simon. I didn't know what his @ was when I first saw him.
Wow.
But I'll send it to you.
That was 2018, really?
What?
Yeah. That was 2018?
Yeah, it was 2018. It got a timestamp on it.
Wow. That's a true fan. I mean, I can't imagine even doing it for Lewis Hamilton, but that's a true
I
fan.
I wasn't even a Lewis Hamilton fan in 2018. No, wait, I was. 2018 was after. Yes, it was after Rosberg. Yeah. No, I was.
Absolutely. Well then, Simon, it's been really great, really, and best of luck with F1 esports. Best of luck with the Twitter mayhem.
Have you seen it? It's crazy.
You have to come to terms with the fact that there are people who actually spend the whole day on Twitter looking for these things to spark controversy.
Do you know what I've learned?
I don't even know why you're talking to me. I'm clearly, I'm clearly the devil.
No, I've had my fair share of being the devil on that app, but nowadays I've just learned, keep it under wraps. Don't reply to trolls. I'm giving you advice here, by the way, based on my experiences. Don't reply. Just mute that tweet and go.
I don't reply. Just
yeah.
If you see my tweet, just look at all the 58. I mean, it was German. They like retweeted it with a comment.
Yeah, they're not even worth your time. Don't mind them.
Just...
You do you, boo.
Well, let's
anyway.
Before you go, we have to get your song of the week.
Mine.
Song of the week. What have you been listening to?
Is there any
what gets you pumped
you've been listening to this week?
New release or anything?
Anything.
Wait, let me check.
While he's checking, I'll tell you mine. So I've been watching this Netflix series called Julie and the Phantoms. Very, very high school cliche series. I don't know why I started it, but the soundtrack actually slaps. And I've been listening to the soundtrack the entire week because it's...
What?
Yeah, it's good.
You told me once that you listen to German rap.
Yes, I do. Apache.
Apache.
Wait, how do you say it? That's how he says it in his songs.
No, he says Apache.
Apache.
Yeah. Anyway, a song I quite like right now is Morning Sun from Shindy. So, albums I really don't listen to.
I also like Capital Bra.
That's also quite good sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
I don't listen to albums though particularly usually. So usually just one song that I pick out and then has the privilege of coming into the playlist.
Wow. The privilege.
Oh no, that's the wrong word.
It's an honor to make it to Simon's playlist. Only the best. Only the best. What about you, Nabil? He's gonna bring up some old song from the 1980s.
Indeed. No, it's not from the 90s,
this old man.
I've been listening to Michael Jackson this week.
Okay.
I don't know why. I've always been a huge fan of Michael Jackson, but I got back with it like this whole week, and yeah, worth mentioning.
Did I tell you this one time? There was a Michael Jackson tribute show where they get a person who is like I don't want to call them an imposter. What's it called? They do impressions of. Anyways, so there was this show in Cape Town, and we interviewed the guy who was who was playing Michael Jackson. Anyways, so he's leaving the building, going gets into the lift, and then I was in the lift and the elevator, depending which country you're from, and he gets in, and I was stuck in this lift, and he was in full Michael Jackson gear, like with the face and everything, and I was like, this is absolutely terrifying. Like, can I get out, please? I was just like standing in the corner, like, hi.
You should have taken a selfie and pretended it was Michael.
It was scary.
Oh well.
I'm not on Simon's. I'm not on Simon's level of asking famous people for selfies. This one is a professional.
They asked me.
They asked him. Okay.
Oh, right. Thank you, Simon, very much again. Pleasure. It's been really interesting. And Yeah, good luck with everything. Good luck with the championship. We'll be rooting for you from now on. Big fan as well from
now on.
So really, really good luck for everything.
Thank you very much. It's been great.
All the best.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for sticking with us again. And yeah, we'll catch with you next week. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
The JustNabz podcast is brought to you by Eccentrical Magazine, which you can find at eccentricalmag.com. Eccentrical is an amazing place where young people come and share their ideas and try to shape the media of the future. You're free to join us. Contact us using readers@eccentricalmag.com. Until next week, stay safe.